Midnight light on a dim-lit screen, clicking through stories you wouldn't believe. Cold case trails and courtroom scenes, whispers from the grave and media dreams. Truth is stranger, hearts beat faster, in the shadows of a news disaster. Scrolling deep where secrets hide, you found the stories time won't deny. Headstones and headlines, the tales collide. Justice and mystery, side by side. From backwoods clubs to breaking news lines, you shine a light where the silence lies. Oh, headstones and headlines, you dig where the truth won't die. Small town rumors and urban fear, a voice for the lost who can't speak here. Through every name, through every case, you hold the truth in a steady place. Cameras roll but justice lingers, truth unravels through careful fingers. You tell the story, speak their names in a world that's quick to look away. Headstones and headlines, the tales collide. Justice and mystery, side by side. From backwoods crimes to great night trials, you trace the echoes through every mile. Oh, headstones and headlines, you dig where the truth won't die. Some run from the dark, you walk right in with a question and a camera lens. It's not just a crime, it's the lives they led. The voice is still talking from the books unread. Headstones and headlines, the veil is thin. Truth gets louder when you begin. With every view, with every line, you bring the forgotten back to life. Oh, headstones and headlines, you dig where the truth won't die. Yeah, headstones and headlines, you tell the stories that time can't hide.
Hey y'all, happy Monday. Happy Monday. Thanks for being here. As you may have seen on my thumbnail, I did put a disclaimer for viewer discretion advised because I had read about this case a couple of days ago, and after going through stuff today, I actually didn't realize the full extent of this. So I even have trigger warning, viewer discretion advised. I added, trigger warning to my banner because this is, I don't even know the word for it. Terrifying, horrifying, sadistic, disgusting, vulgar. The list goes on. So most of the news clips that I have left out the most descriptive information, but some of what is talked about is tough to hear. There was one news clip I had initially planned on playing, but when I listened back to it, I started getting physically ill. So I'm like, okay, that one's going. This is really bad. And the fact that this arrest started back at the end of July, and I just heard about it a couple of days ago. I mean, this should be plastered all over social media, newspapers, etc. These people involved in this trafficking bunker are, they don't even need a trial. Honestly, I know that's the United States, but I wouldn't be sad if someone took them out. I wouldn't. It saved the taxpayers of Alabama a hell of a lot of money. But we're going to get to that. So thanks for being here. I did see Bucci, I think was actually, oh no, Bucci wasn't Bucci was the first person. So thanks for being here. Good Trouble, Pookie, thanks for being here. Twisted Pixie, love the name. They never say where the children came from or if they've been reunited. Or they all, except the ones belonging to sickos already there, kidnapped. This is so horrifying to eat. Yes, I agree. And they haven't, what I've read, and like I said, it's hard to actually stomach getting through an entire clip. I did not see anything about the children themselves. But 8 have been arrested thus far. There are upwards of 20 that law enforcement believes were patrons and or involved in some way. It's really bad. Hey Angie, thanks for being here. Sunnyside. Joan, thanks for being here. Joan the Homesteader. Twisted, it's bad. And I actually said to Sinner right before the live, I said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through this whole live. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Evil Queen, it's bad. I think, thinking of all the stories I've talked about, and I've talked about many that have been, the details have been hard to hear, hard to handle. I think this is probably the worst. It is, I don't even know the words. I don't even know the word. Worst of the worst, right? Pixie, I have not, and I think I answered your question as I was getting through chat. I have not seen any details about the children, at least that I was able to listen to. Because like I said, some of the clips I had to stop listening and take a little break. So, and the scary thing also is that this probably isn't the only place in the United States doing this type of sadistic, nasty ass, like just sick. They are sick fucks. That is what they are. Just, yeah. Twisted Pixie, I did see that. That some of them were, you know, yeah. Hey, Shaby, yes, this is about the bunker. Yeah. And I do, when I can, I always have closed captioning on. So if you'd rather read instead of listening, or this may just not be a live that you want to hang out with. And I'm cool with that. But people need to know what's happening in this country. And what saddens me the most is that things like this are happening and people are more concerned with how much money someone's spending over the summer. Like, really? Ugh, my God. All right. I have not heard of Sylvia Lycan. So if someone else has heard of Sylvia and can compare. I don't remember. I don't think I've ever heard of Sylvia Lichen. Shaby, you know what's interesting is, so someone emailed me overnight. I got it this morning with a news clip about this, and I had seen it a couple of days ago. I added it to my watch later because I knew I wanted to at least look into it. And then Pookie sent me the same thing this morning. So I feel like it's been in the media, but only like local media to where this is. And now it's become more national where, you know, it's being pushed out into the rest of the country, because I think the first clip that I had found was from, I think it was the 23rd of July. And at that point, 4 people had already been arrested. So there could be, it could have been sooner. I mean, they've been looking into this bunker for months. And I do have the press conference from law enforcement that took place back at the end of July. So we are going to get started. I do have my mods dropping, and actually Queen Bella, give me 1 second. I'm going to actually send you the same thing that I sent, because I did see you in here. I did send the, trigger warning, viewer discretion advised, just if you want to copy and paste it. I do have it pinned as well, just in case. But sometimes people don't look at the pinned messages. Shaby says, I believe child trafficking is being hidden. I believe there are many elites involved. I agree. I mean, Epstein isn't the only one doing this. And the fact that, and then when you find out what these people pled to in court as to why they did it, disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And it's not just men involved, because, even me, when I hear about this type of thing, I just think, oh, they're men. Oh no, there were women involved. There were animals involved. These people are sick fucks. And I know I don't swear a lot, but there's no other word to describe these vermin. I don't even know if they're vermin. I think they're worse than vermin. Like I said, I don't really have the word to describe these disgusting people. So we are going to get started. I am going to start with a news article from the New York Times. And this is in Bibb County, Alabama. And the bunker was actually, I used on my thumbnail. It was an outbuilding on someone's property where they would have people come to that establishment, where they would, and actually I'm gonna wait to read it because it is atrocious. Okay, 7 charged in child abuse ring run from an Alabama bunker, officials say. A sheriff called it the worst child abuse case he'd seen in his 33-year career. Victims as young as 3 are now in state care and getting medical, emotional, and psychological support. The oldest was 15. So, if I remember correctly, there were 10 children, ages 3 to 15. And there it is. So this was published July 26, 2025, updated the 27th of July. Oh, give me 1 second. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. I forgot my sister was stopping to get non-clumpable litter for her new foster babies that she has. So I just had to run to the door real quick. Okay. Hey, KCG, thanks for being here. Yeah, I hadn't heard anything about the kids being kidnapped, but they're not really saying much about the kids. I know several were related to those involved. Hey, Coddle. And anyone else who I didn't say hi to or is in the bushes, thanks for being here. I do appreciate it. All right, let me get back to where I was. Okay. In a rural stretch of Bibb County in central Alabama, past pine forests and gravel roads, deputies uncovered what a sheriff called the most disturbing child abuse case he's seen in his 33 years of working in law enforcement. Inside a concrete bunker near a home, at least 10 children were harmed as part of what the Bibb County Sheriff's Office described as a criminal operation involving torture, and the theft of innocence. Most of the victims were between 3 and 10 years old. One was 15. I know God's forgiveness is boundless, but if there was a limit to it, I think we've reached it, Sheriff Jody Wade said, describing the acts as beyond comprehension and the kind that fracture faith in human nature. At a news conference on Wednesday, Sheriff Wade said 7 people, including family members and parents, were charged in connection with the trafficking operation in Brent, Alabama, a city of 2,600 people about an hour south of Birmingham, where children were harmed in the bunker's underground structure. The charges include human trafficking, sodomy, and sexual torture. 2 women and 5 men were charged. A full list of the suspects' names was not available. Well, I have a picture of all of them. I'm afraid there's going to be more victims and many more suspects, he said. Officials say the children were tied to furniture inside the bunker and were sometimes drugged to be made more compliant. And there is a clip that talks about they were given liquid ecstasy to subdue them. A photo released by the sheriff's office shows the inside of the bunker. A stained mattress in a corner, a black metal folding chair beside it, a dirty white pedestal fan, and a single light bulb hanging from the ceiling. This is, the way the New York Times just described that, which is pretty straightforward, it reminds me of a movie, like that you see in a movie. Like it shouldn't be real. And it is. And it is real. Give me 1 second. Sorry. For some reason, my phone shut off and I can't see chat. Okay, there we go. The sheriff said that the victims did not live in the bunker, which was built as a storm shelter, but that it was where the adults held them and allowed others to abuse them. The victims were restrained to a chair in bed, adding that those children who were old enough to fight back were given something to make them a, quote, little bit more drowsy and a little bit more compliant, end quote. Sheriff Wade said that the suspects charged people to visit the bunker and abuse the children. The operation sometimes brought in $1,000 a night. And when I saw that amount, I thought, I don't get it. Freaking scumbags. Sheriff Wade said the investigation into the ring suggests the abuse began around 2022. The sheriff's office started its investigation after Alabama child welfare officials alerted it to possible abuse at a home connected to the property where the bunker was found. It was not immediately clear when the authorities began their investigation. The children, now in custody of the state, are receiving medical, emotional, and psychological support. The sheriff said they have been meeting with counselors. We can't heal from this, Sheriff Wade said, but you can move on as best you can. For some of the younger children, memories appear fragmented with details surfacing slowly. Sheriff Wade said he hoped the trauma the older children faced will fade with time, though he acknowledged it could potentially have a lasting impact. It remained unclear what will be done with the bunker once the investigation concludes. The thing should be burned, blown up, anything. Asked about it during the news conference, Sheriff Wade said he had not yet considered it. If I had my way about it, we'd blow it up. Well, there we go. Wow. Wow. Alrighty, so we are going to go to the press conference next. And let's see. It's about 30 minutes long, so I am going to mute during the press conference, and then we will discuss it after or in chat as it goes along. I hate pausing press conferences because I feel like it breaks up where I don't know, I just don't like doing it. All right.
The first suspect is William Chase McElroy. The victim's ranged in age from 3 to 10 years old. His charges are 4 counts of rape first, 6 counts of sodomy first, 6 counts of human trafficking, 4 counts of kidnapping first. And we have mugshots available for you that we'll provide you after the conference. The second arrest is of Dalton Terrell. His charges are rape first, 5 counts, sodomy first, 7 counts, human trafficking, 6 counts, kidnapping first, 4 counts. The third arrest is Andres Velasquez Trejo. His charges are 6 counts of human trafficking. Those victims ranging in age from 3 to 15 years old. Next is Timothy St. John Jr. His charges are 2 counts of rape first, 4 counts of sodomy first, 4 counts of human trafficking, 3 counts of kidnapping first, 1 count of bestiality, 1 count of aggravated cruelty to animals. In addition to the animals, the victims ranged in age from 3 to 10 years old. Next is Rebecca Brewer. Her charges are 8 counts of human trafficking, 8 counts of kidnapping first, 3 counts of sexual torture. Next arrest is Ricky Terrell. His charge right now is 1 count of rape first. We anticipate more charges on these other ones as they have just been arrested last night and have not been to grand jury yet. The final arrest made, Sarah Louise Terrell. Her counts thus far, 1 count of sexual torture and 2 counts of sexual abuse of a child less than 12 years old. There's a lot of people to thank in this investigation. In addition, we'd like to thank our DA's office, the 4th Judicial District Attorney's Office, the Central Alabama Child Advocacy Center that helps with interviewing the small victims in this case, the Alabama Fusion Center that helps us get all this information together and get us a timeline going and help organize everything, Bibb County Department of Human Resources, they've been invaluable, the Department of Homeland Security, as we're looking into possible gang affiliations with one of the suspects that's been arrested, known ties to a gang that's known their main source of income is child sex trafficking. And our 911 dispatchers, they do a tremendous job, and they do so much for us other than just answer the radio and tell us where to go. Right now, the children, the victims that we have identified, have been removed safely when this immediately was made aware, and they are in the Department of Human Resources in their custody, and they are safe and being cared for and speaking with counselors to help them get through this horrible thing that's happened to them. It's still an ongoing investigation, and we anticipate more arrests and, unfortunately, more victims. That's the information that I can share with you now, but I'd be glad to take a couple of questions if I could answer them. Yes, ma'am?
How are all these people connected? I know there are some with the same last name, but I think some even with different last names, their in-laws and that kind of thing. Can you kind of lay that out for us?
Correct. And for the privacy of the children, I'll just suffice it to say that yes, some of the victims, the offenders, were parents and different relatives and things like that, which you can draw from the last names being the same as the offenders and victims. So,
what about all the suspects? Are there any connections there? You got Sarah and Ricky Terrell along with Dalton. Mm-hmm. Is that one family or? Some
of these people are acquaintances. Some of them are family, and some of them are just people that they were able.
Get to this point, where were the parents?
Correct. Well, a lot of the relatives being involved, so they're not going to come forward. But as far as this, there was the Department of Human Resources. There was child abuse going on there, and that they contacted us to open the investigation. Immediately, victims removed and arrests began being made.
And would they take the children to the bunker, or were the children staying in the bunker?
It depends on the point in time the offenders had. Sometimes the children would be there, tied to a pole that was there, bound to a bed that was there, or in a chair that was there. Sometimes people that would come by.
Or was it different?
I understand that sometimes they could make up to $1,000 a night.
The DA says that there's maybe up to 12 more men involved. Is there any way to track down these men, or do you have any leads on it? And what about those who purchased the images from the last perpetrator?
That is still something that these guys are working on. They were out till midnight last night and have been since this investigation started. So yeah, I was waiting until a time such as this when we had the known victims safe and the for sure known suspects in custody before we wanted to give out a lot of information on this case, but it is still ongoing. And like I said earlier, unfortunately, I'm afraid there's going to be more victims and many more suspects. And these guys are diligent and they're going to run down everybody they can.
Besides the victims whose parents were involved that you mentioned, those who maybe didn't have parents involved, are there any knowledge of their, were they knowledgeable of this going on, and could any criminal charges be brought against them?
That is something that will be part of the ongoing investigation. I do not think that anybody that was not involved in this directly was aware that it was going on.
How many additional victims do you anticipate? If you had 10 already, how many additional do you anticipate?
There's no telling.
As I'm sure many of your investigators are parents, aunts, uncles, how has it been for you all on kind of peeling this back layer by layer and seeing all this? It seems like it's bad and it goes from worse to worse to worse to worse.
Absolutely. It's horrible as a parent when you sit there and you look at your child. I mean, I have a 30-year-old, a 23-year-old, and a 9-month-old. And I just look at that little girl. I'm thinking, how could you? I mean, absolutely horrible. These men have children that they have to go can get off from a have to thank God that they have good parents like these men.
And we're drugging them all.
No, ma'am. I think it may have been something, not necessarily a narcotic, more something like to make them a little bit more drowsy and a little bit more compliant for the ones that were physically able to somewhat try to fight back and protect themselves. But no, and I know that there was another investigation that was that it kind of crossed over a little bit involving drugs at that residence, and then we kind of had to say, all right, let's wait a minute on that. We've got more important things that we have to address right now.
And who was getting the money that they would pay? Who the money went to?
Is that anything I need to? Justin?
I would say yes. Information on what they were charged with, currency or any money involved.
Yeah, correct. One of the charges that I read out earlier on Trejo, all his accounts were child sex trafficking. So you can draw what you want from that.
He's not accused of any
All the charges that he's facing right now, which those are incredibly serious charges.
Right.
But as of right now, as I say, it is an investigation. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more that's going to come out, unfortunately.
Without divulging too much, can you talk about how the bestiality charge and the fourth man arrested plays into this? I mean, was it part of this, or was it just kind of a charge that was tacked on in a separate incident?
That was something that was discovered during the investigation of the children by witnesses, suspects that were cooperating, giving additional information. So that's how that information come forward.
How were the suspect able to advertise, if you will? How were they able to garner some of the children to lure them?
Unfortunately, animals like this have their own network. They've got people that they can call. They've got ads they can take out, be it on any kind of social media platform or something like that. So it is somewhat of an underground thing, but it is well known. Not all the offenders were necessarily familiar with the people that they were purchasing the kids from.
And the house where the bunker is, I know there's an elderly woman, I think one of the men's grandmother who lives there.
Mhm.
Is there any reason to think any of the people who live near there knew what was happening?
Well, I think too, and we were talking about that there was also an ongoing drug investigation that we had to put a little bit of a hold on until we could rescue these children. I think that when you've got that amount of traffic going in and out, it's not when the area where it's located, you can pretty much get to the bunker without a lot of people seeing it. And then, at night, it'd be easy to go in there undetected. So I think with a kind of a relatively heavy traffic area like that, it wouldn't be unusual to see a lot of vehicles and people going in and out of the house. But that's when it's good for people, if they do see activity that's suspicious like that, to please make us aware, because a lot of time when there's something
Do you plan to bring charges under the new Alabama Criminal Enterprise Act?
That's something we're still looking to, working with the district attorney's office. And, we have other agencies that are coming in here to assist us. So the main thing we did was get the charges that we could immediately to get these people in custody and get them off the street. I anticipate more charges coming.
Sheriff, is there evidence, I think you spoke to it, that this is linked to a larger criminal conspiracy or organization? And are there other agencies, federal, involved in your investigation?
Well, we've got Homeland Security investigations that's helping us and to track a little bit more information on the one that has the ties to the is it the Serrano gang. And like I say, I think their main source of income is trafficking.
Okay.
So yeah, we are getting assistance from federal agencies to help us on that end, because wherever this guy come from, we don't know what he left in his trail.
This may be out of your purview, but when this is over with, will you have any sort of jurisdiction to get rid of the bunker just for psychological purposes?
That is something that I haven't even thought of at that point. I'm glad you brought that up. So we will see what can or should be done about that. If I had my way about it, we'd blow it up, but that's something that I can't really answer.
Can you describe what the bunker was like? I know we've seen pictures of the outside by now. Like, and about how large it was.
Well, it was pretty good sized where you could actually live in there comfortably. I mean, there was a toilet in there. There was a mattress they were using as a bed in there, room for some chairs. Partially underground to where you walk around back and you can see it, but it's going to kind of like a hillside. And then on the top of it, like I say, it was like a pad for the roof and then a carport put over. So when you pull up and look at it, it just looks like a carport on a concrete slab.
The Hispanic suspect.
What kind of protective visa he had. Now that's something that they're running down and helping us to determine.
Going back to the bunker, just to clarify, I read reports of it being a basement that was converted into a storm shelter, but you're saying there was a carport above it. Was there any type of residence around that, or was it truly just a bunker in the ground?
Well, it was right there by the residence, so it was adjacent, but you couldn't access it from the residence like directly. You had to go and come in the back of it.
And it was, just for clarification, this was built as a storm shelter and was used for this purpose. This was not built for this purpose.
No, ma'am, and that was one of my first questions. But no, I do believe it was built for a good thing and used for a horrible thing.
Where are the mothers of these children? Could she be implicated as well?
The ones that aren't in jail, we're still working on that. Yeah.
It sounds like, Sheriff, based on what you shared with us today, this could be just the beginning of something much larger that he sort of mentioned earlier. Do you anticipate that this is only tip of the iceberg, so to speak?
Yes. It is an ongoing investigation, and I know it's been frustrating for a lot of people in the media that we haven't given out a lot of information or come forward with a lot of information, but with the hours that's been put in and the urgency of getting these people before they fled, trying to turn them and not giving it a lot of attention so that they would scatter like rats. Now we're to the point where now we've got to uncover the possibility of more suspects and more victims, but we've got the ones that are confirmed in custody and charged right now. So,
Is there any adults? We had heard earlier that the parent of one of the children had claimed that they were being trafficked as well. Is that a possibility? Have you looked into that? Or are we talking about only children?
I believe that the oldest child was 15. Ask me that question again. I apologize.
Any allegations or belief that any of these moms of the children might have been trafficked as well?
Yeah, that's not something I'm aware of. Chris or Justin may be able to answer that question. I'm not aware that the mothers were trafficked.
Okay.
Just to clarify, the two women charged are the mothers of these children, or some of these children.
Yes.
How many?
I'd rather not say right now, like I say, because of the children are, students at our schools here in Bibb County, and they've been through enough. And I just want to say as little as I can just to protect what little bit of privacy that they got.
As a sheriff here and as a father, like you said, can you speak to just the severity of this case? And has there ever been anything you've experienced like this in your time working here?
I've been in law enforcement for 33 years, and this is absolutely the most horrible thing I've ever seen when it comes to victimization of children. And like I say, I know God's forgiveness is boundless. And I know there's a verse that comes to me, and it's in Matthew, I think it's 18:10. It says, don't offend one of these least of mine, for their angels behold the face of my Father at all times.
And you said that people were traveling here to Bibb County, outside of Bibb County, for the acts were happening.
A lot of the people that we have in custody right now are more local, but as investigation goes on, hopefully we'll be able to determine if there were people traveling from out of county, out of state, or wherever to come victimize these children. So that's not something I can answer right now, but it's something that these guys are diligently working on.
Do you have a message for, you said, you're expecting possible victims to come forward too. Do you have any message for those victims or the families of the victims to encourage them to come forward?
I would say no child deserves this. That's the most horrible thing you can do. The power and control of it, the stealing the innocence of a child, and the horrible victimization that they went through with these monsters. I would say it's like the old saying, if you see something, say something. If you do think or suspect that there are children being victimized, contact us or your local law enforcement and make them aware. If it's nothing to it, we'll be glad to say it's not. But if there's something to it, God help us to protect these children.
Can you tell us about how long you think this was happening, from when to when?
The best we can determine at this point is it probably started somewhere around in 2022.
So you're talking about these children were victimized over and over and over through these years.
Yeah, and with the age range of the children, from 3 to 10, some of them come in as they got old enough to be desirable to a pedophile, I guess. And then some of them, their victimization started out when they were younger, and then they reached the age of 10.
And I know you said that most of these children, like the mothers, have been arrested also, but were any of these missing children anywhere that you know of?
That's not anything that I'm aware of, that they were missing, reported missing, or had been abducted or anything like that. I think the kidnapping charges would come from moving a child from one place to another, although the person that was supposed to be their caretaker knew where they were going. But just for you to move that child for a felony purpose from one place to another, that would reach the level of kidnapping.
Sheriff, Sarah Terrell, Dalton Terrell, and Ricky Terrell, are they related, and if so, how?
Yeah, they're related. I'm not sure exactly how they're related. Brothers, sisters, aunts, I don't know.
What about the children? You've been in your business, you said, a long time. What's in store for them? I know they've been taken away, they're in a safe place, but in terms of counseling, what is their immediate future going to look like?
Well, they've already been in contact with counselors, and they're getting the help they need, the medical help they need, the emotional and psychological help that we can best provide them. That for the younger kids, I'm hoping this is a blurry memory, because some of the statements of the children, they were unable to remember certain things, and then things would come to mind. And some of the older children, they'll carry this vividly for the rest of their lives. So all we can do is the best we can by them to help them get past this. You can't heal from this, but you can move on as best you can. Life that
They were.
yes.
Are there any, adults other than their parents or so-called caretakers that maybe feel these children, school officials, anything like that, and could they be criminally liable to this?
Not that I'm aware of, because normally, and with our school system, if something's going on or something looks out of place, they call us immediately, because we have a very good working relationship with them, as we do DHR. It's a small county. They'll call my cell phone and say, hey, Jody, this little girl's missed 3 days of school and she's had some bruises when she come in, and then we'll sick the dogs on them then. But we work very well with them. I'm not sure there was any indication. And, as in any case like this, sometimes the victims, they're afraid they're going to get in trouble. Their victimizers have control over them. They are their caretakers, and they still, some care about their parents.
But no report has come from the school official or anybody else. about this that could have put you off?
I do not think that there was anything I think that there was anything wrong. They would certainly have contacted us immediately, I can promise you.
What about you guys? Counseling made available to these gentlemen, or perhaps even you?
If they had time, they would probably get some. They have been wide open. I guarantee you, they've seen these poor children more than they've seen their own. They were calling me last night after we met for a couple hours yesterday. They were calling me last night at midnight, giving me updates on what was going on and talking about their concerns. And, you know, we met at my house so we could just kind of sit and talk and then give me some more updates on the case in preparation for this conference. And then, of course, we had a lot of personal talks. And it's hard to sit there and talk to your chief investigator while he's holding your 9-month-old about something horrible that happened to another little child that doesn't have as good as ours do.
Can we hear from either one of them? If they're okay with it, are you okay with them just telling us how it's been for them through these months of investigation?
That is absolutely up to Justin and Chris. Chris?
Yeah. My only request is, could you step to the podium?
Absolutely.
Just give us your name again real quick in case anybody missed it before.
I'm Christopher Poole.
How long have you been with the sheriff's department?
I started the sheriff's office in 2017.
So just, what's this been like for you?
It's been heartbreaking. It's been heartbreaking. It's very sad. We don't want to see any children ever have to go through this. As Sheriff said, we all have children of our own. God puts us at the place that we at that time. And we're going to help you find it. We're going to help you find it, and we're going to put everybody who has done any wrong to any child in this county away. Our sheriff is very supportive of that. When we notified him immediately of this, he immediately intend on doing.
How do you leave this out the door when you go home and not take it home to your own kids or wife?
Is a strong thing that you got to keep through this.
Chris, at what point during the investigation, it's going to be a lot bigger than what we thought? Was it day one back in February? At what point did you realize this was the...
Yeah, so in February, we knew any child abuse is serious to us. We noticed that it started getting bigger the second arrest that we made. Once we was interviewing Dalton Terrell, he ended up giving us a lot of information, and we started investigating a lot more.
Have all of the suspects confessed?
Multiple ones of the suspects have confessed. There is a couple that is not.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Just say your name for us real quick.
My name is Justin Hobbs.
Okay, and how long have you been with the sheriff's department?
I've been with the sheriff's office about a year now.
Just tell us what this has been like.
It's hard to describe.
I mean, the sheriff has said this is the worst case, again, you've ever seen, and he's been doing it a lot longer than you, so this could be the worst thing you've ever seen, and you've only been here a year.
I would agree with that.
Are you able to share with us any expressions from the children once they realize they've been rescued?
I would prefer not to, just to protect the innocent children. And
How do you not take this home? How do you leave it at work, when work seems to last a long time anyway?
I would say 6 years in the Army taught me very well to leave it at the house and try not to take it home.
As somebody that lives in this community, and like she said, you've only been doing this for a year now, what kind of sentiment do you have to say to people outside this county to know that this is everybody here. You know, this is such a dark and twisted thing, but it's not all county, correct?
That's correct. This is a beautiful county. It's filled with a lot of natural peace. We have things, Cahaba lily, which is the shoal lily that you see on the Cahaba. I've met people from Indiana, Wisconsin, Maine that have come here for college trips to see those things and the beauty that's here, and the people here are great. So.
Justin, are you able to address whether you will have to make special arrangements in confinement or for any of the suspects on suicide?
I don't think that's something I'll be able to answer. Not this time. I wouldn't know that information.
Are you able to clarify if Dalton Terrell is related to Rich Terrell and Sarah Terrell?
I think refer to how the sheriff answered the question. Thank you.
Finish with Sheriff, or do you feel like you got everything in there you needed to?
I think that about covers it, unless y'all have any other questions. I mean, the guys have done a great job. I'm very proud of them. They're doing.
All right, so I am going to stop it there. I am, like I said, I'm sorry that feed was so shitty. I had one from a website. I don't even know if it was the same news station. I think it was. And then I saw that they had it on YouTube, and it's the only one I could find on YouTube. And ABC 3340 needs to get their stuff together, because that was embarrassing. I mean, you could tell there was a cord or something that was loose or something to that effect, and clearly their producer, maybe they were trying to fix it, but that was embarrassing. Maybe all right, so what I did before we get to the next clip, I did look up Avery, Alabama, which usually on Google Maps, it will have like a red border around the city or the town, wherever you may be. It doesn't have that for Avery. Avery is just a pin. And so I'm like, well, maybe it's so small that I just can't see the red. Nope. It's just, 2,600 people, which I guess, it's probably this area. But if I zoom out, you can see it's actually between Birmingham and Chattanooga. It's like halfway between Chattanooga, Tennessee and Birmingham, Alabama. Right off the interstate. Yeah, right off the interstate. Disgusting. So I'm going to share this next. So this is the 8 scumbags who have been arrested and charged. So we have Olivia Alam, Andres Trejo. Look at him. He looks like he's proud. Freaking scumbag. William Chase McElroy, loser. Dalton Terrell, also a loser. Rebecca Brewer, disgusting. Ricky Terrell, disgusting. Sarah Terrell, won't even look at the camera. And Timothy St. John, loser. All losers and scumbags. And so so there's 3 Terrells, and someone did ask the question if they were related. And of course, that's when the feed cut out. But I'm going to assume that they are related. This kid actually looks like this guy. Not to say that they're father and son, but they do resemble each other. I'd like to know how the others are related. So I did find an article from, because someone was asking about whether the kids were, the kids of these people. This is from the Independent. So they did have, so William Chase McElroy is 21, Dalton Terrell 21, Andres Velasquez Trejo 29, Timothy St. John 23, Ricky Terrell 44, Sarah Louise Terrell 41, Rebecca Brewer 29, and Olivia Shaley Alam 26 all face an array of charges ranging from R to sodomy to kidnapping and HT. Their alleged victims included the children of Sarah Louise Terrell, as well as the children of Velasquez, Trejo, and Brewer. So Velasquez, Trejo, this guy, and Brewer, this lady, their kids. And then Sarah Louise Terrell, this lady. It was not clear how many children from each suspect were victims of the alleged abuse. Most of the suspects had no serious criminal history in Alabama prior to this investigation. Well, probably because they have mugshots. Let me share this. Oh, there's only 7 mugshots though. Losers. It's terrible. So this says chilling photo. Okay, so I'm not sure what that looks like, a cross in the ground. I don't know what this looks like, a covered bridge. Maybe that's how you get to it. That looks like a covered bridge. Maybe not. Oh, and then we're back to where we were. Okay, so let's go to so the next clip is when these people go to court. And again, trigger warning, viewer discretion advised. Some of the details you may hear can be, well, actually, all of the details you will hear are disturbing and hard to hear. Let me just see if there was anything else in that article. There was other stuff, but I think I'm going to hold off on showing the articles because some of the things that are written, I won't even say out loud. And like I said in chat, they say what initiated the arrest, what law enforcement saw when they were called to the bunker. But I am not going to repeat that because it is, I don't even want to say it out loud. Okay, so Ricky Terrell, let me go back to this. Let's put these a-holes on the screen. Ricky Terrell has previously faced drug-related offenses and possession of contraband. So Ricky Terrell, where's he? This guy. Okay, so he's the older guy. And Sarah Terrell had one previous charge for hindering prosecution. So those two appear to be the only ones with documented previous charges. Okay, so it does say, and Queen Bella had mentioned this earlier, an investigation into the suspect's potential gang affiliations revealed that Trejo Velasquez is a verified member of the Mexican gang Sureños, the Department of Homeland Security confirmed. The gang largely makes money through child ST. All right, and I think the rest of it is what. Who is this Jones? Hold on a second. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to find out who this Jones person is because they. It also says each suspect reportedly had a specific role in the alleged ring. Oh, Jones must be the sheriff. So it says Jones said there are allegations of up to another 12 men who may have been involved. We have no way of identifying these people unless somebody in this community comes forward and says this person told us they did this. Jones said, adding that because of the drugs, the children won't know who they are. And that is awful. Hey, Casey, thanks for being here. Oh, maybe like a carport? Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, one of the women had her own children in there. Yep. Are they a city or just incorporated? Let me see if I can find that. I mean, Google doesn't even have anything about it. Like usually it'll have like a little description of it. Okay, so here we go. Avery is not a city or town in Alabama. It's a common surname in no, that's not what I wanted to know, Google. Apparently, Google doesn't even know that it's a place. Oh my gosh. I mean, it has a zip code, but even Google came up with Avery Johnson, who is a basketball point guard. Yeah, and I mean, I'm looking. I don't see anything about. Let me see if I put in. Okay, here we go. Nope. Okay, so I put in Avery, Alabama population. It gave me the population of Arley, Alabama. Google doesn't even know about this. Google has no idea about the I guess area, Avery. All right, I'm just going to go through chat quick to see if I missed anything. they didn't have much security at all when they went to court. We're going to get to that next. That's the next clip we have. Yeah, Casey, I don't know how anybody could allow that to happen to their kids. They're clearly disgusting. Yeah, like Pookie said, mofos. Okay, so let's go to this. So this is when they appeared in court, and I do have, this was July 24th. So the press conference we just watched was, not January, July 23rd. This clip is the following day when these monsters go to court. Oh, and what happened to my banner? Let me put that back up. So, viewer discretion advised.
Well, court proceedings in Bibb County canceled this afternoon in connection with an alleged child sex trafficking ring.
Now, it was supposed to be an Anaya's Law hearing when a judge would decide whether defendants would be allowed to bond out of jail. WVTM 13's Lisa Crane was at the courtroom today and explains what decisions the court made in the case.
Okay, and I had not heard of Anaya's Law, so I'm just going to read about that quickly. Anaya's Law in Alabama is a piece of legislation named after Anaya Blanchard, a young woman who was kidnapped and killed. The law, officially known as an amendment to the state constitution, allows judges to deny bail to defendants accused of certain violent crimes, particularly those involving murder, sexual offenses, and kidnapping. The law aims to keep potentially dangerous individuals in jail without bond before trial, preventing them from reoffending while awaiting court proceedings. I think that is a very good law because, as we've seen in Tennessee with Austin Drummond, he was bonded out for attempted murder and ended up killing 4 more people. So it does say that this law was passed in early 2021. So it's fairly recent law.
Do you have anything you want to say? Rebecca Brewer and Sarah Terrell hid their faces.
Yeah, show your face. Now you're embarrassed? Yeah, okay.
At the Bibb County Courthouse today, they were joined in the courtroom by Ricky Terrell. After speaking with their attorneys and agreeing to no bond, the judge agreed to cancel the hearing. The prosecutor said this hardly ever happens and speculated on why they might have opted out of an Anaya's Law hearing.
To avoid the repetition of having the facts come out over and over again in open court, probably made the tactical decision to have a preliminary hearing and allow the evidence to be heard probably once before we actually go to trial.
Turner also spoke about,
and that's actually a really good thing, I think, that happened, because you don't have to keep saying the facts over and over, because it's got to be tough, not only for, the prosecution and those, bringing these people to trial and persecuting them, but those testifying about what they saw. This guy, look at his face. He just thinks that he is so arrogant. And he's the one in the gang. Where are their hands? Yeah.
at the magnitude of the case, with 7 defendants charged so far and the disturbing details revealed in court documents.
Whenever you have cases that involve children victims or child victims, it shocks people to the core. The majority of us have children, so whenever you hear a case that involves kids, you automatically think of your own. So the facts are shocking, they are disturbing.
There are so many disturbing details in these cases. We've told you about some of those, but there are many just too graphic to reveal. So we're choosing not to release those details. We do have all those court documents on our website, though. You can see those links at WVTM13.com. Those details creating a lot of anger among residents in close-knit Bibb County. Turner is urging those with strong emotions to trust them to do their jobs.
Never take the law into their own hands. You don't want to take a bad situation and allow it to spill over and become a worse situation. We would just generally ask that the public trust the system and allow the system to work.
In Bibb County, Lisa Crane, WVTM 13.
Now, the Bibb County Sheriff has said he expects to identify more victims and make more arrests in this case. We'll keep you posted on any updates.
And then to let them walk together, I wonder, let me look up the population of Bibb County. Okay, so the population, oh wait, I have to put in Alabama because there is a Bibb County, Georgia, Alabama. Okay, so the county, the population as of 2024 was just under 22,300. So we'll say about 22,000 people. It's a pretty small population. Hey, SoFlo, thanks for being here. But the fact that they were able to walk together, like, no, you don't get to socialize. And as I was saying, like, maybe it's a very small, department, but still, they shouldn't be able to walk together. Disgusting. All right, what's this one? Oh, so this shows, when is this one? This is more recent. This was August 15th. This clip was from. Yeah, so it says, revealed in Bibb County Court, law enforcement searching for at least 15 more suspects. So hopefully they are able to find them. Right, Nanny, they're both defendants. They should be kept apart. I agree.
They all, except maybe one, and are not guilty.
Okay, so this is the one that made me, well, this whole thing makes me angry, but this made me even more angry because of what they pled. Right? Why they did what they did.
Not guilty by mental disease or defect.
The assistant DA talking about the 8 people charged in a disturbing child sex trafficking ring in Bibb County.
Look, they can all just walk together. Unless they're just transported all together, so they let them just walk together. Like, come on. So all but one pled not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect. Well, no shit, Sherlock. You guys are sick MFers. But to use that as an excuse for what they did, no. You knew exactly what you were doing. Exactly, good trouble. Give me a break. Mental deficit, right. I mean, yeah, they're mental, but no.
They all appeared in court today for arraignment, and as you heard, 7 of them pled not guilty to the charges against them. The 8th, Dalton Terrell's attorney, couldn't attend, so he did not enter a plea just yet. He and 2 others, Andre Trejo and...
I feel for the attorneys or public defenders that, well, if they're private attorneys who chose to take the case, that's on them. But for those public defenders that are assigned this case, I feel for them because there's no way in hell I would be able to defend these pieces of shit ever.
Chase McElroy were already being held without bond after an
Yeah, Nanny, no bulletproof vest. And that's why I think the DA had said, don't take the law into your own hands. But I guarantee there is someone in that community, because they are becoming restless. Someone is going to try to take them out, and I wouldn't blame them.
Anaya's law hearing. And today, a judge ruled the same for the remaining 5 suspects: Rebecca Brewer, Olivia Elam, Sarah and Ricky Terrell, and Timothy St. John. Now, we learned about the investigation last month when the first 4 suspects were arrested. Officials indicated the incidents took place in a storm shelter. Investigators say 10 children between the ages of 2 and 15 were victimized.
Wait,
now, in court today, an officer said the children were given liquid ecstasy and GHB to sedate them. Authorities are now working to identify 15 to 20 people who paid to abuse those victims.
Ugh. What is I've never heard of GHB. Maybe I have. Oh, okay. So it's ecstasy. I mean, what the hell? Right. Well, in the press conference, the sheriff had said 3. Maybe they misspoke. I'll try to, not that it makes a difference because they're still babies. But I'll try to see if I can find.
And more arrests are expected.
Oh, what did I do? Oh, I cut her off. Whoops. Okay. She was just saying to go to their website if you want more information. So let me quickly, I'm going to look to see, let's see, because I think I have one more clip. Okay, so that clip we just watched was let's see, this is alabama.com. Let's see what this says. At least 15 more suspects sought in horrific Bibb County Bunker child ST case. It's interesting that the one didn't have his lawyer there, and that's why he wasn't arraigned. Oh, and I can't read it, the rest of it, because I'm not a subscriber. Okay, let's go to a different one. So it says 7 of the suspects: Rebecca Brewer, William Chase McElroy, Andres Trejo, Sarah Terrell, Ricky Terrell, Olivia Elam, and Timothy St. John, were arraigned in court, each pleading not guilty or not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect. I'm guessing their lawyers probably suggested that. Oh, okay. So it says investigator. Okay, so here's some things that happened in court. Investigator Justin Hobbs, testifying on behalf of the Bibb County Sheriff's Office, provided disturbing details about the case. Mind you, I'm not going to read any that may be disturbing. Hobbs said the investigation began when 2 children in the Department of Human Resources custody began exhibiting inappropriate behavior, which the children later attributed to learning from William Chase McElroy in a, quote, secret bunker. McElroy was arrested and Hobbs said he admitted to possessing child P. Both McElroy and Terrell reportedly gave confessions. During forensic interviews, Hobbs said minor children disclosed what happened to them and illustrated these experiences in drawings. Hobbs testified that several co-defendants described a drugging process involving crushed white powder and liquid substances referred to as liquid G, G water, and liquid ecstasy. These drugs were allegedly administered to the children mixed in liquid and served in bottles, rendering them essentially unconscious. Hobbs testified that financial statements reportedly link Ricky Terrell to the bunker. And Ricky's the oldest one, right? Yeah, Ricky's the oldest one. All right, I'm going to skip that paragraph. So Hobbs testified that investigators reportedly have evidence suggesting 15 to 20 other unidentified people may have paid to enter the alleged underground bunker. Hobbs said the drugs were identified by co-defendants as liquid ecstasy, GHB, and other forms of ecstasy. The bunker was believed to be operational from 2022 until the first arrest in early 2025. School employees reportedly filed reports to DHR regarding some of the child victims. All 5 suspects from the Anaya's Law hearings, along with the remaining 3, are being held without bond, as they should. Oh, I know, Bella. I'm sure. I don't even want to. Oh, okay. Hey, Sippin' On. Thanks for being. Okay, so GHB is so like roofies, like a type of roofies, or is it roofies? I don't know. I'm not privy to. I'm not very good at drug stuff. Joan, that's true. I feel sorry for the jury that has to see the evidence. I agree with that. Right. And I'm sure they weren't being properly taken care of on top of all that. No, they were, I mean, their parents, well, I don't even want to call them parents. They're not parents. All right. So I have one last clip. Oops. There we go. And this was from today, but I think a lot of the news stations are recycling their content because this was also from I found this clip on an earlier date too, but the main reporter was different. So I think they're just using the same footage. They're just, keeping it in the news, which is, I think, important.
Investigators say as many as 20 more people may have been involved in a child sex trafficking ring in Bibb County. This new information comes as 7 people already charged in the case appeared in court today. CBS 42's senior reporter Amy Headstone reports.
This morning, 7 of the 8 defendants were arraigned. Assistant District Attorney Brian Jones says those 7 entered not guilty pleas. This afternoon, Sarah Terrell, Olivia Elam, and Rebecca Brewer, seen here leaving the courthouse, declined to comment on camera. Ricky Terrell, followed by William McElroy, Dalton Terrell, Andre Trejo Velasquez, and Timothy St. John were also videotaped getting into the van to return to the jail. 5 of the 7 had an Anaya's Law hearing to determine if they would be eligible for bond. The judge has denied their request for bond. All 8 are facing similar charges, including rape, sodomy, human trafficking of a minor, sexual servitude, kidnapping, and sexual torture. The alleged abuse took place in this storm shelter in Brent. The defendants in this case are being tried on similar.
She just said Brent. So why the New York Times article said Avery? Let me look up Brent, Alabama. Okay, so Brent is a city in Bibb County, Alabama, known for its tranquil atmosphere and connection to the Cahaba River. And US Route 82 runs through the northern part of the city. Just under 3,000 people. Wow, the median household income, $24,000. How is that even, how can you even live on that much money? $24,000 a year. So I wonder where Brent is in relation to let's see. Okay, so this Brent is a little bit further away from the interstate. That's why, but it's still very small. Very small. So I'll share this with you guys. So here is Brent. So if I zoom out, there's Birmingham. So Avery is actually here. So I don't know. Oops. I don't know why the New York Times said Avery, Alabama. It's actually Brent, Alabama, which, I mean, here it is, this teeny little, not very big. Not very big at all. Oh, look, there's a correctional facility. Maybe those, I think maybe those people should go there and they should do a visit. They should go visit and, you know, just let the prison system give them their justice. Objective twist, they believe that it's been happening since 2022.
Similar charges in what the state calls accomplice liability. ADA Brian Jones explains.
Rarely do you have rapes and sodomies that fall under the complicity and the accomplice liability, but in this particular case, they were all involved in some degree to the abuse and to the rapes and sodomies and human trafficking and everything involved.
Bibb County Sheriff's Office investigator Justin Hobbs testified for the prosecution during this afternoon's Anaya's Law hearing. He said there were 10 victims ranging in age from 2 to 15, and that co-defendants...
Okay, so that the ADA did say 2 to 15. Fucking gross. Absolutely disgusting.
Described the drugging process of children involving GHB and ecstasy. In addition to the 8 defendants, Hobbs says they have information on about 15 to 20 others who came into the bunker to have sex with children.
Disgusting.
He said they haven't determined who the money was paid to. Now, the judge has placed media restrictions on what attorneys are allowed to discuss in this case.
Oh.
We were told that they can only talk about process. Reporting in Bibb County, I'm Amy Heibels, CBS 42 News.
That's interesting. So the judge said that attorneys can only talk about the process, nothing about the case. That's interesting. Sipanan says that's pretty good for this area. So 24,000. Let me look up. Let's see. Median income. Let's see. Okay, so for around where I live, the average annual salary is $69,000. I mean, that's 3 times as much as that town in Alabama. And then I just looked up the town I grew up in. The median household income is $54,375. Let's see. I just read that they said January of 24, but think about it. Right. Yeah, I'm sure none were actually employed anywhere. Right. They, yeah. Well, I live in New York, so, you know, we get paid and then we just give it away. All right, so let's see. I just wanted to look to see if there was any. I wanted to try to find on my map like where this bunker is, but it's probably going to be kind of difficult to do. Because it's so rural, and you know, the photo they have isn't. There's no landmarks to kind of go by. But they said, yeah, I don't think they said like any identifying info. Because it almost looks like it's not even near. I mean, you can't really see a house near it, but it's clearly on someone's property. And you know, that kind of reminds me of JC Dugard, because what was Philip, what was his last name? Agredo? Philip Arito? Let me look it up. Philip. He had like that shed Garrido, Philip Garrido. He had, you know, his house, and then he had that like storage type building in his backyard where he held JC for decades. Oh, hang on a second. This might actually. Hold on a minute. Oh no. And it looked like, I feel like it looked like it had a dirt road. That might make it easier to find, but all right, let me just look one last time. There was a longer clip that I have that kind of put everything together. I don't know if we want to watch that or not. I don't think there'd be much different, that, you know, more information that we haven't heard. Oh, actually, let's look at this. I just found an article. All right, I'm not gonna show the article just because I haven't read this, and well, I'll show it. I'm just gonna skip. If there's anything graphic, I'm gonna skip over it. I won't read it. You can read it for yourselves if you so choose. Okay. So it says, title is Former Teacher Raised Concerns a Year Before Alabama Bunker Child Abuse Case Surfaced. And this was from July 28th, updated the 29th. A former Bibb County, Alabama teacher revealed she raised concerns about a child now believed to be one of 10 victims in a child SA case nearly a year before the case came to light. The teacher, who requested anonymity, said she noticed developmental delays, severely poor hygiene, and chronic absences in one of her students during the 23-24 school year. The teacher reported the child's condition multiple times to school administrators. You know more than just kid playing outside dirty. Neglect, clear signs of neglect. Although she said the situation never improved. It was multiple times. No, it never really got better. Investigators have since uncovered that at least 10 children were drugged and abused in an underground bunker. The teacher says the reports she made to school administrators did not capture the full extent of what investigators have now allegedly uncovered. Knowing now that they were drugged and stuff, so that they had a lot to do with where she is academically. Oh, wow. You can barely even see that bunker. It's like that aerial view. Whoops. Definitely hidden. Law enforcement stated that the case was not referred to them by the Department of Human Resources until February 2025. Maybe not shocked, just even more saddened that nothing happened back then, like looked into far enough to be stopped back then, and then it was just ongoing, the teacher said. Let's look at the clip because I feel like I was reading that wrong.
Now to continuing coverage of the
full screen is unavailable on the article. So we're going to go to YouTube.
Continuing coverage of the Bibb County child sex abuse case involving 10 young victims. A former teacher now says she raised red flags about one of those children nearly a year before the case surfaced. ABC 3340's Gracie Johnson spoke with her today.
I just feel like it should have been looked into more.
A former Bibb County teacher asked us not to identify her, but says she recognized something wasn't right with a child believed to be one of 10 victims in a Bibb County sex abuse case. It was the 2023-24 school year, and she says one of her students stood out for all the wrong reasons.
She was in my class, and she was just very delayed developmentally, and there could be billions of reasons, but now with all this coming out, it's kind of like that's probably why.
The teacher says school staff reported the child's condition more than once to school administrators.
It was multiple times. No, it never really got better.
The teacher tells me that reports are typically made directly to the school counselor, who would then contact necessary external agencies. Investigators say at least 10 children were drugged and abused in an underground bunker. 7 adults now behind bars and facing a long list of charges, including rape, human trafficking, and kidnapping. Our anonymous teacher says the reports she made to school administrators did not capture the full extent of what investigators have now allegedly uncovered.
Knowing now that they were drugged and stuff, so that had a lot to do with where she is academically.
Law enforcement says this major case wasn't referred to them by DHR until February 2025.
I was maybe not shocked, just even more saddened that nothing happened back then, like was looked into far enough for it to be stopped back then, and it's just been ongoing.
I reached out to Alabama DHR regarding these claims, and they responded saying the Alabama Department of Human Resources is bound by state confidentiality laws and cannot comment. Gracie Johnson, ABC 3340 News.
Oh, let me just back up a little bit. So there is a road that kind of goes past it. I was trying to see if there was any more identifying features, but there are not. Okay, so Marie had said, because she missed the beginning. This is the clip that's been showing up. At least this is what I initially saw. And then this is the same clip that someone emailed to me overnight. And then Pookie shared it with me this morning. So more people are seeing it, which is a good thing. And I think this clip, several news stations have it. So I think they're just compiling all of the information and putting it into one succinct clip. So some of this may be repetitive, but this will be a good kind of summary before we say goodbye. What did Pookie say? Let me go back to chat. I've been looking at chat, but I've kind of been ignoring chat. Sunnyside said an ex-con that I listened to said that there's really no prison justice like I've always thought, at least where he was sentenced. I mean, maybe it's a little more, I just think of Jeffrey Dahmer. I mean, Bucci says 3 officers shot, 2 passed away. Where was that? That's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Yeah, it's. Oh, and I just saw your second comment. Trementon, Utah. Okay.
To some breaking news out of Bibb County, a 4th arrest has been made in connection to the ongoing child sex abuse investigation involving an underground bunker. ABC 3340's Gracie Johnson joins us now with more on the charges.
Muriel, the Bibb County District Attorney's Office confirms to me that Timothy St. John was taken into custody today. He's now facing a long list of charges, and officials say some of the alleged acts happened inside the same bunker that's been at the center of a months-long investigation. Now, this is ABC 3340's drone footage of that bunker. Now, according to the DA's office, St. John is charged with rape, sodomy, human trafficking, kidnapping, bestiality, and cruelty to animals. This comes after 3 men were previously arrested as part of the same investigation. All 3 of those men face multiple charges as well, including rape, sodomy, human trafficking, and kidnapping.
And I was just thinking, I wonder if any of these losers will make a deal and give up the names of all of the other people involved. Or maybe they don't even know who the people are. They just showed up and, did what they did and left.
Again, investigators allege that some of the offenses took place in the same underground bunker on Aaron Road in Brent, Alabama. Now, authorities have not yet said how St. John is.
Thank you, ma'am. Aaron Road. Oh, here it is. Aaron Drive. There's no Aaron Road. All right, let's see. Oh, geez, there's like houses way in the woods. I'll have to look. I don't see it like at first glance, but she said Aaron Road. I'll keep looking.
allegedly connected to the other 3 suspects or whether additional victims have been identified. The investigation began in early February. Since then, authorities have made multiple arrests and filed several felony charges, yet key details surrounding the case are still unclear.
Keep the kids in safety.
The Bibb County Sheriff's Office says it opened an investigation on February 4th following a report related to child abuse involving an underground bunker near Brent. That investigation led to arrests of these 3 individuals. All 3 have been indicted on various felony charges, including rape, sodomy, human trafficking, and kidnapping. Court filings allege the incidents occurred between January 2024 and early 2025 and involved at least 5 children, all under the age of 12. The court documents indicate that William McElroy allegedly acknowledged having
Sipping on, what do you mean? Where did the kids come from? CPS? The children were those of the losers who were arrested. Either their own children or family of those involved.
Appropriate conduct with a child. Dalton Terrell reportedly admitted to unlawful sexual activity during an interview with investigators. And Andres Trejos Velázquez is accused of distributing explicit images and facilitating contact between victims and others.
They need to be put away and stop all that violence going on with these little bit of kids. You'll never know what they might do to little kids these days.
While the charges are detailed in legal documents, many aspects of the case remain unknown. Some of the questions we'd like to ask investigators include, was anyone else involved? And how were the children identified or contacted? We reached out to the Bibb County Sheriff's Office in an effort to get an answer.
And we know now that the children involved were either the children of or family of those arrested.
To those questions, yet we were told that Sheriff Jody Wade was out of the county and unavailable for interview. We will continue to ask questions.
3 of the 7 suspects charged in a disturbing child trafficking investigation out of Bibb County faced a judge for the first time today instead of a bond hearing. All 3 chose to stay behind bars. ABC 3340's Gracie Johnson was there and has the latest.
What was scheduled to be an Anna's Law bond hearing for 3 of the 7 suspects charged in connection to alleged child abuse and trafficking out of Bibb County ended quietly. Rebecca Brewer, Ricky Terrell, and Sarah Terrell all waived their right to bond during their first court appearance.
It's not the norm, but it does happen from time to time. This is probably the first non-murder Anna's hearing that resolved itself that fast.
Each of the 3 faces severe charges, including human trafficking, kidnapping, rape, sexual torture, and child sex abuse. Before entering the courthouse, Rebecca Brewer told media, "I didn't do this. I love my babies."
Oh, get the F out of here, lady. Is that her walking? Let me look at our, let me put these jerks on the screen again. Oh, Rebecca Brewer. So that's not the one. Oh yeah, that is the one that was walking, I think. This one right here. I didn't do this. I love my babies. No, you don't. No, you don't. And I did find where the bunker is. It took me a while, but let me show you. So this is Aaron Drive. And so I was it was like, there's nothing. I don't see anything here. It's all open. There's no trees. But then I said, let me zoom in. Here is that carport type thing that they had a photo of. So I don't know where the bunker, I'm guessing the bunker is behind it somewhere. But here is that covered carport thing. And then here's the house that is, I would assume that's the same property. So I'm thinking it's got to be here somewhere. but that is where it is.
I didn't do this. I love my babies.
I don't know if the reporter changed her voice on purpose, but she sounded different when she said that.
Child sex abuse. Before entering the courthouse, Rebecca Brewer told media, I didn't do this. I love my babies. Inside the courtroom, Ricky Terrell was overheard telling his attorney, I've never touched a kid. He also asked an officer if he could hug his wife, which that request was denied.
Oh, so I was correct. Those two are married.
Despite the quiet courtroom behind the scenes, the investigation is very much still moving.
The public should rest assured that the majority of the perpetrators that have been identified are either in custody and charged or will be very soon.
So far, authorities have identified 10 child victims ranging from ages 3 to 15. Most are under the age of 10. Investigators say they were drugged, restrained, and taken into an underground storm bunker where strangers would pay to abuse them in what they described as appointments.
Whenever you have cases that involve children victims or child victims, it shocks people to the core.
The next court date for these 3 suspects is set for August 21st, a preliminary hearing. Until then,
August 21st. That is Thursday? Yeah, Thursday. Let me write that down. August 21st. And I wanted to get court records from Alabama. I went looking for records. Do you know, and if you don't know, you're going to know now, just to search a name in Alabama from their court site, $10 just to search a name. I was like, that is nuts. That is nuts. So I'm going to have to see if there's another way to just get like docket information for these people. I know the one news station said that they had the reports on their website, which I guess is nice of them because I don't know how much they charge for actual documents if a name is $10.
they remain in custody without bond.
When I tell you, I feel like I've seen it all and heard it all. This is shocking even to me.
The investigation into an unthinkable child abuse case in Bibb County is far from over. 7 people are behind bars accused of horrific crimes against children as young as 3.
Authorities fear more victims are out there and more perpetrators too. ABC 3340's Gracie Johnson spoke with a trafficking expert. And Gracie, she is shedding light on just how deep this kind of abuse can run and why early recognition and recovery are so difficult.
Muriel, yes, I spoke with Carolyn Potter, CEO of the Well House, who works directly with trafficking survivors. She explains why this case follows a familiar and heartbreaking pattern and what's needed to help the children now coming forward.
The vileness, the evil of that just went to the very core of my soul.
What investigators say happened in rural Bibb County is almost impossible to comprehend. A storm shelter, originally built as a place of safety, became the scene of unimaginable alleged abuse. 10 children, some as young as 3 years old. So far, 7 people have been arrested.
I've been in law enforcement for 33 years, and this is absolutely the most horrible thing I've ever seen when it comes to victimization of children.
Carolyn Potter works with trafficking survivors from across the country through the Well House, a recovery center in Alabama. She says the signs of trafficking are often present, just not always recognized.
We need to do a better job of educating our teachers and our counselors and our caseworker on what trauma looks like and on the signs of human trafficking, because I would wager just about anything that those children showed signs.
Authorities say the children were participating in normal activities, including attending school. Yet the abuse.
And I think someone earlier had mentioned about school. So those that were school aged were going to school.
Have been taking place since around 2022.
I do not think that anybody that was not involved in this directly was aware that it was going on.
When I tell you, I feel like I've seen it all and heard it all. This is shocking even to me that it went on this long without anyone knowing about it or being able to do anything.
Now, with the investigation still ongoing, the focus is also shifting to recovery. Potter says the children will need more than a rescue. They'll need long-term care.
They've already been in contact with counselors and they're getting the help they need, the medical help they need, the emotional and psychological help that we can best provide them.
Yet sadly, the 10 child victims identified in this case so far aren't the only ones.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot more that's going to come out, unfortunately.
There are more. There are more children across our state, across our country, who are enduring horrific crimes like these.
I spoke with Sheriff Wade this morning. He said they have not yet made any additional arrests in this case, but they are actively working on uncovering additional suspects.
The Centerville community came together praying for children, praying for families impacted after that recent child trafficking scandal.
This has been a really tough story to have to report on. We know that 10 children, some as young as just 3 years old, were sexually abused and trafficked in an underground bunker. Jocelyn Belev from our sister station in Tuscaloosa reports.
We shouldn't be known for this. We shouldn't be labeled for the evil that has happened in our communities. We should be known as a praying town. All we're doing today is asking people, to put their hands, wrap their arms around this community, wrap their arms around the victims and the victims' families who are really the ones suffering.
For one longtime resident of Centerville, the tragedy feels deeply personal.
It's so emotional of what's happened in our town. We've always been a great town and safe, and nothing like this has ever happened before. So we're all devastated.
She said nothing like this has ever happened before. I think it's more something like this has never been discovered before. Because I'm sure there's a lot of things happening all over this country we don't know about.
And we just hope that justice is done to the full degree. We've got a lot of great law officers and a sheriff and everybody.
Organizers wanted to provide a space for the community to come together in response to the disturbing reports that have emerged this week involving child trafficking and abuse. The Centerville community held the vigil just days after the shocking discovery that at least 10 children, some as young as 3 years old, were victims of a coordinated sex trafficking operation in Brent.
That abuse took the place of bedtime stories. That abuse took the place of tucking kids in at night. That abuse took the place of, hey, let's go to the ballpark and have a fun day.
Despite the strain the situation has placed on the community, residents are choosing to focus on the positive as they look toward healing and moving forward.
We have not seen all the bad that's going to come from this, but we haven't seen all the good that can come. We have to be strong. We have to keep our faith. We just pray that God will, have his say. He will.
And that was Jocelyn Belev reporting. Investigators have charged 7 people in this case. 3 suspects waived their right to bond, choosing to remain in custody. The suspects face allegations including human trafficking, kidnapping, rape, sexual torture, and child sex abuse. A former teacher now says she raised red flags about one of those children nearly a year before the case surfaced. ABC 3340's Gracie Johnson spoke with her today.
I just feel like it should have been looked into more.
A former Bibb County teacher asked us not to identify her, but says she recognized something wasn't right with a child believed to be one of 10 victims in a Bibb County sex abuse case.
And as they were reading off the charges, I decided to look up the penalty in Alabama for human trafficking. And first-degree human trafficking is a Class A felony. A minimum sentence of life imprisonment is mandated if the defendant is 19 or older and the victim is a minor. So I hope that all of these people charged are found guilty so they spend the rest of their life in prison. And that's just the trafficking charge. That doesn't include the other charges that they are facing.
It was the 2023-24 school year, and she says one of her students stood out for all the wrong reasons.
She was in my class and she was just very delayed developmentally. And, there could be billions of reasons, but now with all this coming out, it's kind of like that's probably why.
The teacher says school staff reported the child's condition more than once to school administrators.
It was multiple times. No, it never really got better.
The teacher tells me that reports are typically made directly to the school counselor, who would then contact necessary external agencies. Investigators say at least 10 children were drugged and abused in an underground bunker. Our anonymous teacher says the reports she made to school administrators did not capture the full extent of what investigators have now allegedly uncovered.
Knowing now that they were drugged and stuff, so that had a lot to do with where she is academically.
Law enforcement says this major case wasn't referred to them by DHR until February 2025.
I was maybe not shocked, just even more saddened that nothing happened back then, like was looked into far enough for it to be stopped back then, and it's just been ongoing.
I reached out to Alabama DHR regarding these claims, and they responded saying the Alabama Department of Human Resources is bound by state confidentiality laws and cannot comment. Gracie Johnson, ABC 3340 News.
We also reached out to Bibb County Schools. As of news time, we have not yet heard back from them.
I spent the day digging through court records to learn more about the 7 people now facing several disturbing charges. Shockingly, most of them have no serious criminal history in the state of Alabama prior to the child sex abuse investigation.
And I wonder if they're all from Alabama, because she said no significant criminal history in Alabama. I wonder if any of them have criminal histories in other states.
Authorities in Bibb County say the details of this case are unlike anything they've ever seen. An alleged underground operation involving child sex abuse, human trafficking, and a hidden bunker. 10 children have been identified as victims so far, and 7 adults.
I just realized something. So the bunker is like that carport. This is the carport right here. The bunker is the other side of it. So that was that that was right across from the house.
Are behind bars.
Some of the victims, the offenders, were their parents and different relatives and things like that.
I spent the day digging through court and criminal records, trying to learn more about who these suspects are. Most of them had no serious criminal history in Alabama, most only facing minor traffic violations until now. Rebecca Brewer is charged with 8 counts of human trafficking and kidnapping, and 3.
Okay, so 8 counts. So just human trafficking is mandatory life in prison. So if you're charged with 8 counts and you're found guilty, you are not getting out.
Counts of sexual torture, but I found no prior criminal record. William McElroy, Dalton Terrell, and Andres Trejo Velazquez are each charged with multiple counts of rape, sodomy, human trafficking, and kidnapping, also with no known serious prior state charges.
Annie.
Ricky Terrell is charged
that.
with rape and previously faced drug-related offenses and possession of contraband. Sarah Terrell now faces charges of sexual torture and 2 counts of sexual abuse of a child less than 12 years old. I found 1 previous charge for hindering prosecution. Timothy St. John had the longest rap sheet, including theft and criminal trespassing, criminal mischief, burglary, and other drug-related charges. All 7 suspects remain in custody at the Bibb County Jail, awaiting future court proceedings in connection to the Bibb County child sex abuse investigation. The defense team for one of these 7 suspects has filed a motion to restrict media coverage and public access to pre-trial court proceedings. The move aims to protect the defendant's right to a fair trial by limiting exposure to potentially prejudicial information. A judge has not yet ruled on the motion. The details come.
I hope they don't prevent the media from being inside the courtroom, because they're not going to get a fair trial anyways. The population of this place is less than 3,000 people. They're going to have to go, I would say maybe even outside the county. Well, maybe not outside the county, but I mean, people in Alabama are going to hear about this regardless of whether media is allowed in or not.
Coming out of Bibb County's child sex abuse investigation have left a deep impact on both the public and the people working to bring justice. Now lawmakers are pushing to bring the harshest punishment against those who harm children.
I believe that there's a special place in hell for child sex predators.
Inside the State House, leaders from across Alabama came together with a message. What happened in Bibb County cannot happen again.
I've seen a lot in 25 plus years as a prosecutor, the scope and the depth and the depravity of what has been described. And I think we're still going to learn more when we have an opportunity to be able to allow the facts to be tried. They are the worst that I've ever seen.
On Thursday, Representative Matt Simpson and Senator April Weaver announced their plan to reintroduce legislation that would allow prosecutors to pursue capital punishment for the rape or sodomy of children under 12. The effort follows the arrest of 7 people in Bibb County, accused of being part of what investigators describe as a child sex trafficking ring conducted out of an underground bunker. Some victims as young as 3 years old.
When you somewhat top line it, the death penalty for pedophiles, I'm in.
But this proposed law would not apply to the suspects already in custody in Bibb County.
We're not able to retroactively apply this punishment to those. It has to be in effect at the time the offense was committed. I wish we could, but unfortunately we can't.
These lawmakers say they are already gaining support in their push for harsher penalty, and they're actually giving their colleagues more time to co-sponsor the bill before filing.
7 of the 8 people charged in a child sex abuse case involving an underground bunker entered not guilty pleas this afternoon. ABC 3340's Gracie Johnson was in court today, and she has the latest of what we're learning this hour.
The more we learn, the more chilling the details seem to be. And Friday's hearing painted a disturbing picture of what investigators believe happened to these children over the span of several years. Investigators also revealed that they have evidence that leads them to 15 to 20 still unidentified people who paid to enter the bunker. Bibb County investigator Justin Hobbs testified 2 of the child victims who were in DHR custody at the time first revealed what they called the secret bunker, saying they learned sexual behaviors there from suspect William Chase McElroy. Hobbs said multiple victims, some as young as 2 years old, described being touched, whipped with belts, and shocked with electric dog collars. One child said she was forced to perform sex acts while some of the suspects laughed, took pictures, and video. The 8 defendants face charges including rape, sodomy, human trafficking, kidnapping, and sexual torture.
Those poor
Assistant
babies.
District Attorney Brian Jones says they are charged under Alabama's accomplice liability law, meaning prosecutors allege each suspect participated in or enabled the abuse, even if they didn't commit every act themselves.
Rarely do you have rapes and sodomies that fall under the complicity and the accomplice liability, but in this
I agree, Sipanan. There is definitely more.
particular case, they were all involved in some degree to the abuse and to the rapes and sodomies and human trafficking and everything involved.
Hobbs testified some of the defendants admitted in interviews to drugging children with GHB, liquid ecstasy, and other substances. Those details came from the defendants themselves, not from toxicology testing. He also confirmed investigators have not recovered any of the alleged videos described by the victims. All 5 defendants in today's Anaya's Law hearing were denied bond. The 3 others remain in jail on no bond.
Surrounding DHR agencies have stepped in to help with the investigation. Investigators say the child victims have been removed from Bibb County out of an abundance of safety. The investigation is still active and more arrests are possible.
I'm glad they have moved the children out of the county. That hopefully will keep them safer. Well, I guess we're just watching them walk out. All right, so there we have it. So they have court again on Thursday. So I will be sure to follow that. I did see, while I'm here, I wanted to look up if there was any new information on Emmanuel Haro. Oh, what's this? U.S. Sun. So let me add this to. So just changing gears quick to Emmanuel Haro. It says, inconsistent memory. Ex-husband of missing Emmanuel Haro's mom insists, quote, only she knows truth, as story on 7 months old, my gosh, on 7-month-old's abduction changes. Oh, she only knows the truth as the story on 7-month-old's abduction changes. The investigation into the alleged abduction of a 7-month-old boy took a new twist as the ex-husband of the child's mother has insisted only she knows the truth. Mom Rebecca Haro told authorities she was changing her son Emmanuel's diaper outside her vehicle in the parking lot of a Big 5 store in Yucaipa, California, on Thursday evening when she was knocked unconscious by an unknown man. Sweet boy. Haro allegedly told deputies with the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Office that as she was changing her son, the man came up from behind her and said, hola, hello, in Spanish. The 41-year-old mother said the suspect allegedly attacked her from behind, knocking her unconscious before she was able to turn around. Haro told deputies, wait, okay. For some reason, I missed that fact that she had said the attacker attacked her from behind. So how did she get a black eye? And it knocked her unconscious before she was able to turn around, which means she would have hit the car, I would think, right? Somehow, if she was unconscious, unless she fell backwards, I don't know. Haro told deputies she had no recollection of anything that followed, except that when she regained consciousness, her 7-month-old was missing. Haro, her husband Jake, and her mother Mary Buschhausen spoke briefly to news outlets and urged the public to help them find the toddler. And speaking of her mom, Rebecca's brother is serving a 50-year prison sentence for staging his girlfriend's murder as a suicide. So maybe she learned this from her brother. I don't know. I just hope that baby's okay. I got him out of the car seat and I laid him down so I can get his diapers ready. And somebody said, "Hola," and that's all I remember. I saw white. A distraught Haro, who had a noticeable black eye, told ABC affiliate KBC TV. I fell on the floor, and as soon as I got up, I couldn't find my son. Whoever took our son, please give him back. Jake, 32, the newborn's father, added. However, in the days following the boy's alleged kidnapping, investigators with the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Office have determined inconsistencies with Haro's initial statements to investigators. Investigators have not publicly released details about Haro's conflicting statements, but said since their initial interviews with the couple, they have both now refused to cooperate and declined further questioning. Investigators interviewed multiple individuals, including Emmanuel's parents, Jake and Rebecca Haro. During those interviews, Rebecca was confronted with inconsistencies in her initial statement and declined to continue with the interview. At this point in the investigation, investigators are unable to rule out foul play in the disappearance of Emmanuel. Bushhausen previously told the Orange County Register that Jake refused to allow his wife Haro to take a lie detector test in front of authorities. The grandmother told the outlet that the couple wanted to hire an attorney before taking the test. When approached by the U.S. Sun, Bushhausen, Emmanuel's grandmother, declined to comment. Yeah, it does seem off. I know, Bucci, another. Yeah, good trouble. I see a lot of things being said in chats, and yesterday I was watching someone, I was in the lab, and someone in his chat said that that Jake's ex-wife or ex-girlfriend made a statement about him. And I couldn't find a statement anywhere. I was watching another live stream that talked about this case, and there were people in chat saying things that weren't true. Like they said, investigators called off the search. No, that's not what was said. The organization, the Uvalde Foundation, called off the search because they felt, because of mom's inconsistencies, that their time could be spent elsewhere. I've seen people in chat saying that they were digging up the backyard. I haven't seen anything about people digging up the backyard. I have seen, that they brought cadaver dogs to the property, but I feel like there's a lot of things that are being speculated or stated online that aren't necessarily true. And the fact that some creators just run with what people are putting in chat is concerning, because it's not true. And maybe it is true, but I need verification. That's one reason why I don't go to another creator's chat, is because when I ask for sources, like, hey, where did you hear that? Where can I find that? The other people in chat are like, maybe you need to go elsewhere to answer your questions. Well, okay, bye. Oh, you did hear that about they were digging up the, yeah. And then I saw another, a big creator in his title had trace of blood in backyard. What are you talking about? Like, it's just the clickbaity, just no, come on. Yeah, that's a good way to put it, Good Trouble. I feel some of the creators are working with the National Enquirer. Is the National Enquirer even still around? I haven't been to a grocery store in so long. Yes, Sunnyside. That's what it did. And it wasn't JLR. It was not JLR. It was one of the other big true crimers. So I was actually shocked and disgusted. Well, True Seeker, I could see why they said about a hoax, only because I think they're going on what her brother did. And actually, speaking of her brother, let's take a look at him quick. I have a few more minutes. Let's see. Here we go. So this, oh crud, I can't read that one. Excuse me. So this is from 2018. Mother of man convicted of gunning down girlfriend speaks out. So this is Rebecca Harrow's brother. James Buchhausen, 35, was convicted last month of first-degree murder in the March 15th, 2017 death of his girlfriend, Jalen Amanda Keith, 27. Keith was found with a single gunshot wound to the center of her forehead in the bathtub of the Bellardo Road apartment that the couple shared. Prosecutors said Buchhausen shot her in the head and then staged the scene to look like an unaliving. And I will share this article if anyone wants to read more about it. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but that I can see why people are saying that it's a hoax, because her brother kind of did the same thing years before. Not to say that that's what she's doing, of course. We don't know that. But I do agree that her story is troublesome. I've heard other people say, oh, there's reports that they went into the Big Five or the Big Five store earlier or a few weeks prior, saying their car had been broken into. Did they have cameras? Again, nothing verified. The one thing I saw in chat, it was a live a couple of days ago. I just started watching. Someone in the chat said that she's lying because that department or that sports store doesn't sell mouth guards. So I'm like, well, maybe they're right. So what did I do? I went to their website, and what do they sell? Mouth guards. Like, I don't know where some of these people get this stuff. I mean, people need to do their own research. So when creators say, do your own research, because a lot of the stuff that's being said in chats and by the creators themselves is not true. I like facts. I like things that you can verify. I'm not going to report something and say, oh yeah, I'm not going to put on my thumbnail or my title, trace of blood found in backyard. No. Okay, mother's ex-husband speaks out. In the days following little Emmanuel's disappearance, troubling details have emerged about Jake's criminal records, as well as Harrow's life as a mother of 5 other children. Harrow's ex-husband, who asked not to be named, told the U.S. Sun he did not know his ex-wife remarried or had another son. The man said he and Harrow had been separated for years following an 11-year marriage. Our relationship was normal, your normal relationship. We were married for 11 years and dated for about 15. We got 2 daughters. They're grown. They're over 18 already. I don't know anything about her new husband, only what I've read on the news. I haven't talked to her in years. I didn't even know she had a son until the news came out. The man wished for a positive outcome in the search for Harrow's son, adding, when a kid goes missing, it's pretty shocking. You never wish that on a baby. Then you find out that it goes missing like that out of nowhere. I don't know. It's heartbreaking. I don't know what to think about that. Only she knows the truth. I hope they, the police, find the baby. I think that's what everybody wants out of this. Meanwhile, the Orange County Register has since reported that Emmanuel's father had previously been convicted of felony willful child cruelty. Jake was arrested in Hemet, a city in the San Jacinto Valley in Riverside County in 2018 and was convicted in June 2023 on felony charges. This is what gets me. He was sentenced to 180 days in jail and 48 months of probation. And there are also accounts of what he did circulating, but I haven't been able to find verification of that either. A prison sentence of 72 months was suspended, the outlet reported, but he is scheduled to appear in court in early September for an alleged probation violation. Neither Jake Haro nor Buschhausen have been charged nor named as suspects in connection with little Emmanuel's alleged abduction. The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Office confirmed to the U.S. Sun that investigators executed a search warrant at the home of Jake and Rebecca Haro. When asked if the parents are being probed as suspects, the Sheriff's Office said, investigators have not ruled out anyone's involvement and are following up on all leads and tips. Okay, so there we have it. I knew that they had gone to the house with cadaver dogs. They executed a search warrant. Haven't seen anything else about anything else going on in the case. And really, a lot of the new stuff coming out is just the same thing that has been coming out, about the dad. But I haven't seen anything about, at least from law enforcement. Or, sometimes the media has like the aerial coverage. I haven't seen anything where they're showing them digging in the backyard. But the one thing I did find interesting about the home where they live, there were like these big, let me see if I can find a picture. There were these big blue like drum barrels. And I don't know if I can find. Oh, here's an article about the house being searched. I wanted to see if I could find a picture of the house. That one isn't going to show. But the one photo I saw, it had like these big blue drum barrels. And I was like, that's interesting. Oh, let's read this. And then I definitely got to go because I've got kittens that need to be taken care of. Speaking of kittens, Marigold did go home today to her forever home. So that was really exciting. So I have 5 left. And then my sister she has a mama and 3 babies that she is fostering through the rescue I work with. So this says Cabazon home of missing baby's parents searched. Father has served time for child cruelty. Okay. But this did have some different stuff in it. San Bernardino County Sheriff's investigators on Sunday, August 17th, searched the home of the parents of the baby whose mother reported the infant kidnapped as new details emerged Monday about the father's child cruelty conviction in 2023. Sheriff spokeswoman Mara Rodriguez confirmed Monday that investigators conducted the search. She declined to say what they were looking for or what they recovered, citing the ongoing investigation. Canines have been used throughout the search, while declining to say whether cadaver dogs were deployed at the property. That's interesting because one of the articles we read yesterday said that they were. Investigators are continuing to search for Emmanuel around the clock and following up on all leads and investigative discoveries. Rebecca and Jacob Haro have not been arrested or charged. It was also unclear whether they had retained an attorney. Emmanuel's grandmother, Mary Buchhausen, told KTLA that the couple would not hurt their son. Buchhausen told KTLA that the sheriff's department asked Rebecca Haro to take a lie detector test and that her husband refused to do that until after they hired an attorney. The grandmother also said the mother had turned off her cell phone because she had received death threats. Jake Haro also was not answering his phone. Those details could not be independently confirmed on Monday. Haro initially told investigators, okay, we're not going to go through all that again. Deputies searched unsuccessfully with canines, according to a sheriff's statement. Rebecca Haro then pleaded in media interviews for the kidnapper to return Emmanuel. Okay, they talk about her inconsistencies. The National Uvalde Foundation for Kids called off their independent search, as well as a $5,000 reward because of her, change in story. The search comes almost 4 years after Jake Haro and an apparently different spouse, Vanessa Haro, were charged with willful child cruelty in Riverside County after an infant was found to have fresh and healing wounds that placed it in critical condition. According to an affidavit written by a Hemet police officer to obtain an arrest warrant, officers investigated a report that a 10-week-old girl had been admitted to Hemet Valley Hospital on October 13th, 2018 for treatment of broken bones. What the F? Vanessa Haro, also known as Vanessa Avina, told officers that she had picked up Jake from work and dropped him off at home on October 12th before driving to Beaumont to pick up her eldest daughter from school. She returned about an hour later and tried to nurse the infant, but she would not drink. Vanessa took the baby to a hospital. Jake told investigators that after Vanessa dropped him off, he took the baby's temperature and found it to be 99 to 100 degrees. He bathed the baby and accidentally dropped it chest first on the divider of the twin basin sink. He could not detect any injuries. That night, Vanessa woke up Jake and asked him to feel the baby's back. He felt something crackle, the affidavit said. Jake told the investigator that he did not feel the crackle after bathing the infant. Vanessa later declined to answer the investigator's questions without an attorney present. Doctors at Loma Linda University Medical Center told the officer who wrote the affidavit that the baby had an acute fractured rib, healing fractures of 6 ribs, a skull fracture, a brain hemorrhage, swelling of the neck, and a healing fractured leg bone. The combination of the above findings in a pre-mobile infant in the absence of a plausible history of significant trauma to explain the injuries is indicative of abuse, head trauma, child physical abuse, and nutritional neglect. Jake Haro told the officer that when he went home after visiting the hospital, his sister opened the web browser on his iPad and found a search for how to feed a baby with broken ribs. Jake told the officer that he did not use the iPad at the time of that search, which was performed before the hospital visit. And as the investigation continued, the officer wrote, Jake blamed the injuries on his wife. But both were charged with willful child cruelty on October 5th, 2021. They pleaded guilty to the charge on June 8th, 2023. Jake was sentenced to 180 days in the sheriff's work. He wasn't even in jail. Or no, work release, right? So you're in jail, but you're released for working. 180 days. That's 6 months. 6 months in jail for hurting a 10-week-old baby. Given a suspended 4-year prison sentence and was ordered to attend a child abuser treatment program. Vanessa was sentenced to 120 days in the work release program in order to attend the child abuser treatment program. Shortly after the baby was admitted to the hospital, Jake Haro filed a request for a domestic violence restraining order against his wife. That case was eventually dismissed. Jake Haro is due in court on September 2nd to answer to another charge, being a felon or addict in possession of a firearm. Where's that firearm? Oh, and that was the end of the article. Well, he should have never, ever been around children after that. He should have never been around children. Yeah, exactly, Good Trouble. The fact that he was allowed to take home another child is a problem. I agree. Yeah, he didn't deserve to be out of prison or be around children. I agree, Bucci. Good Trouble, the dad, it was the dad and the dad's ex-wife. So Emmanuel's dad and then his previous wife, their child, is who he hurt. Well, they both hurt, in my opinion. Right. Babies have soft bones, hard to break bones, like get real. Right. And if you drop the baby, like you're not a medical doctor. How do you know if something's broken or not? You're a liar. You are a liar. I wonder if they've talked to older kid at ball game. That I don't know. I have heard, I saw someone in chat say earlier that, they had heard that the baby was never seen at the game. I have no reference for that. So I actually said, Evil Queen Yaya was in the labs chat last night too. And my one comment was, it seems like a lot of people have been hearing a lot of things, all of which are not verifiable. Oh, there's Evil Queen right there. They're like, I heard this, I heard that. Yeah, well, I hear birds sing. And what does that matter? Where's your source? Where is your source? So there we go. Dad has a history of violence against children. And my one theory was that I personally, this is my opinion, that it is possible that Jake, the dad, not only beat the crap out of Rebecca, his wife, but he also somehow hurt Emmanuel. And Rebecca, because she's scared shitless of him, concocted the story to cover for what he did. That's my theory. I could be completely wrong. But as we've, deduced, that black eye looks old. It looked older than 2 days. So that's what I think. Yeah, I did read that the 2-year-old, the 2-year-old was removed from the home and placed into the custody of they call it like Department of Human Services or something, DHS. Good Trouble says, I would believe that now that you shared the dad's post, the bruising was allegedly. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, I feel like something happened. I mean, and mom could also be suffering abuse from Jake too. I mean, but that doesn't. And the fact that, it seemed like she was cooperating. And then the husband was like, no, we need a lawyer. Like, I'd like to know how the demeanor was in those rooms to see, like, was he overbearing? Did he speak for her a lot? When she tried to speak, did he speak over her? Those are, those are questions that only investigators know. So with that, I am going to go because I stayed way over my 2 hours. But the story I talked about today, I felt was very important. And more people, as, Shaby had said, more people need to be talking about this story because it's not just happening in Brent, Alabama. It is happening all across this country and this world. And as we saw, they were making $1,000 a night, $7,000 a week on children. And that's for one person. I'm just assuming that one person was allowed at a time. So, anyways. Yeah, I'll take a look at that too. I have other stories too that I want to, kind of my mishmash of stories that I usually cover. Because there's some stories that I could do shorts on, but I'd rather just talk about them because they're that wild. Oh gosh, Good Trouble. That's so sad. Oh, do you, Truth Seeker? We have active Amber Alert to missing kids, brother and sister. I hope they're found soon. All right, y'all. Well, I better go take care of... Oh, that's what I wanted to show you pictures of the kittens before I left, but I do have to go. So I will save those photos for tomorrow. So have a great day, night, morning, wherever you are. If you haven't hit the like button, please do so on your way out. If you are getting through this whole live on the replay, #replay. And then until next time, y'all, I will see you on the flip side.
You have one shot on stage, what you got to play? Generic drops for days, still the people rage. Am I not insane? Can you stop and explain why these drops are so lame? Is money buying you fame? I'm fucking on, I'm killing it with this song. You haters can sing along or go back where you belong. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with giving up, moving on. Cause I took your girl to prom, she can't help but sing this song. Comes off till the lights go out, till my legs give out. Can't shut my mouth till the smoke clears out. And my high harass, I'ma rip this shit till my bones collapse. Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out. Can't shut my mouth till the smoke clears out. And my high harass, I'ma rip this shit till my bones collapse. So on like a light switch, flirting back. There's nothing wrong with the way that she's working that. I just want that body bad, come on baby, bring it back. I'm so gone, faded off a 30 rack. She's so on like a light switch, flirting back. There's nothing wrong with the way that she's working that. I just want that body bad, come on baby, bring it back. I rap with a passion, yeah, I got it in me. I've been waiting quite a long time for y'all to hear me. It's about damn time you put some stock into me. You're either sponsoring me or fucking bothering me. And the fact is, we just practice on this madness. That is why our status is like a canvas. Chances our advancement is enhancing, and this new expansion's like a mansion. Comes off till the lights go out, till my legs give out. Can't shut my mouth till the smoke clears out. Am I high, perhaps? I'ma rip this shit till my bones collapse, till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out. Can't shut my mouth till the smoke clears out. Am I high, perhaps? I'ma rip this shit till my bones collapse.